Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, MyBookie.ag, and it's wonderful to have you along for the ride. Is the Real Housewives of Eagles locker room, is this episode over yet? Are we still worried about who's still friends? Are we still worried about who's going to be yelling at who over a salad or whatever? Is that still happening? Are we still worried about whose kid's opening a club or something? I don't know. That's what it reminded me of this week. Real Housewives of Eagles locker room. That's what we'll call it. AJ and Jalen apparently are good. They tried to clear the air yesterday. Although I will say, I don't think Brandon Graham just said something out of nowhere. I don't think these guys are, just from what I gathered yesterday, Jalen Hurts talking about how like a team changes, a dynamic changes, a game plan changes, a dynamic changes. Like it was a weird thing. Like these guys haven't been shy about their how they're boys and their buds and all that stuff. And look, quite frankly, I don't care if they play well on the football field together. And as I've been talking about, AJ Brown is still having a hell of a season here, okay? And still one of the top receivers in the NFL, especially in the specific stat of yards per reception. So he's got some splash play ability still in this offense. I don't care if they're still besties. But I will say this. If Brandon Graham is saying, I don't think he just pulled it out of nowhere. That those guys, he walked it back. We talked about it on Monday, or excuse me, on Tuesday, and all that. But I don't think that's same. I don't think it's the same relationship that it's been. Not to say that it's completely fractured. I just think maybe things have changed a little bit in that regard because I don't think BG is just taken it out of nowhere and thrown it against the wall. But with all that being said, I thought the two handled it perfectly yesterday. There's a couple of things that AJ Brown said that I'll play for you that I just go, dude, come on. Specifically, I'll mention right out of the gate. Oh, my. Well, maybe it isn't just Jalen. It's a passing game in general. He did say passing. He didn't say Jalen. Like, yeah, well, I still believe that there is a relationship there. Maybe not as strong as it once was, as I got into on Tuesday. I believe that there's a relationship there. And I believe that he wasn't just going to mention Jalen's name because then he'd have no way to back out of it like he did yesterday at his locker. I didn't just mean Jalen. I meant blocking up front. I mean, blocking we have to do as receivers, just the entire passing game. This thought occurred to me yesterday. What kind of backwards universe do we now live in where we're concerned about the Eagles abandoning the passing game? Those words were difficult to pass through my lips right there and say out loud to you because you don't say you abandon the pass. We always say we abandon the run. What kind of backwards world are we living in right now? We abandon the pass? I think the message from Jalen Hurts and from AJ Brown yesterday, and in a way Jordan Mailata as well, is that you can't abandon the pass because that's got to stay sharp too. When you run, too much of anything is bad. Okay, so if you're running the ball too much, as dominant as that has been, then things are going to suffer, especially timing wise when you're talking about how you're throwing the football. And certainly one of the words I told you guys about on Tuesday. I did the film breakdown, and I said, hey, well, hold on, so what do we have here? We have exactly what Jalen Hurts said. It's not synchronized. And Jalen acknowledged that you shouldn't be having these conversations week 13, week 14. You shouldn't be talking about getting on the same page as a passing attack. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much true. So I went back and I looked at those Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown plays. I looked at a couple other plays. I mentioned the play with Devontae Smith, where it looked like those two were on the same page. They're literally pointing at each other, like, what the hell are you doing kind of thing. I mentioned a complete breakdown from the offensive line. Jordan Mailata, breath of fresh air yesterday, because he said the same exact thing. Made me feel like I wasn't bananas, where he said, oh, yeah, I ran the wrong play a couple of times, and those were shots to AJ. Like, oh, that's interesting, because there are certain times where it absolutely looked like it. So watching everything yesterday in the locker room, I was like, they're just completely out of sync when it comes to the passing attack. And against the Steelers, even though it looks like they're not going to have George Pickens, you're going to need it. Russell Wilson has never lost against the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles, 6-0. And how about this? 4 of those 6 wins are in South Philadelphia. Good times. So we got a lot to get into and dissect from yesterday's locker room sessions. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Jordan Mailata, I got sound for you. I even watched Jake Elliott. How's your day? How was your day? I watched Jake Elliott address the media. He said that it was an ongoing conversation with him and Nick at the end of that game where they decided to punt as opposed to go for the whatever it was, 50-yard field goal, whatever. And it was an ongoing conversation. If they get within Jake Elliott's range, he'd already missed a 52-yarder earlier in the game. And one of the first things that Nick Sirianni did post-game was talk about how windy it was. And he still has the utmost confidence in Jake Elliott, and good. That's great. Jake Elliott has a lot of confidence. He couldn't wait to get out there yesterday and kick the football around. That's what he said. So good. All right, fine. Let's keep instilling that confidence. Let's somehow find a way to get back to that. So Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Jordan Mailata, we're going to get to that. I do want to say thank you to everyone and also apologize for not being able to do the show yesterday. And I apologize to people. I appreciate people that have reached out to me for condolences and good vibes and prayers and all that. I have my whole life I've had my Uncle Frank. And my Uncle Frank would have been 103 years old yesterday. And early Tuesday morning, he passed away. And he was my grandmother's brother, my father's mom. It was her brother. And I never knew my dad's parents, so he was always more of a grandfather type to me than he was a great uncle. And we had a great relationship. He was more of a friend to me than just a great uncle. You know, we just had I remember being a little kid and just being around Uncle Frank and just being like, this guy's got the answers. You know, he just always had I think a lot of families are blessed to have someone like my Uncle Frank. The guy that you just want to be around, the guy everybody wants to be around, the guy that you're always joking with, you're laughing with. He can talk to someone who's 100 years old or more like him, or he could, make my 5-year-old daughter laugh. You know, he was that guy, and all ages in between. And I credit him for really helping shape my own perspective in life, because this is a man that went through awful tragedies in life, war, tragedies that a father should never go through. His wife of 40 plus years passed away in 1986 when I was 4, but the man never stopped smiling. And I remember one time we were having a cup of coffee together, and we were talking about a relative who passed, and I just said, Uncle Frank, like everyone, like, how do you do it, man? We've talked about it before, but you've been through some stuff. That's all I said. Like, how do you keep this mentality? I'll never forget. He just sipped his coffee and he just, what are you gonna do? That was it. And it was like that was like in one little sentence question. What are you gonna do? Like, what other way was he going to go about life other than smiling and making everybody around him happy? And that's what he did for me. And I am just thrilled that I got that. If I didn't have my dad's parents as grandparents and get to know them, I'm just so unbelievably thrilled and grateful that I had my Uncle Frank for, geez, man, he was a day shy of 103 years old, and he was still with it. And it was the type of situation where he was great until he wasn't. And as I was talking to some family members, because Tuesday I was scheduled to be over there to help out with some things anyway. And then literally that morning he had passed. And I was talking to family members. My one cousin was like, please, so I don't have to do it, can you call some cousins? And I was like, hey, absolutely. So I called some cousins, some aunts and uncles and all that. And we all were talking about him. So when I was talking about him, I just said it was a very Uncle Frank type situation where it was all or it was nothing at all. He was going to be him until he wasn't. And when he wasn't, that's when I guess the good Lord needed a little sprucing up of the party upstairs. Needed to inject another personality. And I'm sure Uncle Frank's bringing it. Hell of a dancer. Hell of a golfer. Really enjoyed golfing with him. Walking. He always loved to walk. Golfed with him the last time when he was only 96 years old, and he was still hitting fairways like a legend. So I'm going to miss the hell out of him. It's going to be one of those things where I'm going to have a moment in a day where I'm going to say, oh, I should go see Uncle Frank today. And then, it'll dawn on me. But because he was just part of my life forever. So I hope you guys had an Uncle Frank, and I hope a life like that inspires. I had a social media post I was trying to post yesterday, and I couldn't post it for whatever reason. I was told Facebook was having issues and Instagram and whatever, because I obviously want to spread the good word of Uncle Frank, the many good words of Uncle Frank. But I appreciate the people that reached out to me. Also, apology. This was a wild situation. One thing goes wrong, and then 10 things go wrong. So I had every intent to post earlier the hey, no show today banner that I had, right? The thumbnail. And I had it made, and I'm about to post it so you guys know what's what. And my wife's cat, Rory, the kitten, she comes into the studio, and she's just staring at me. And she's got what I originally thought was a bracelet hanging out of her mouth. And I was like, okay, she'll spit that out. And I'm like, okay, doing this, clicking that. Okay, getting ready to post. And I look over, and I'm like, wait, why? She still has a bracelet in her mouth? All right, let me get that out of her mouth. So I walk over to her. And now it's a good ending, so I don't want to make anyone too uncomfortable. All right, everything's fine. She's fine. She's great. She's walking around. She's having a great time. But at this moment, I walk over to her, and it's not a bracelet. It is a fishing line. And it's not just a fishing line. It's a fishing line with that little clip on it. The clip that you would attach a hook to. I have no idea where she found it. I no clue. No clue. But now I'm worried that my wife's cat has swallowed a fishing hook. Okay? Again, I'm starting at the end here. She's fine. But this is what I was staring at, and it was a fishing line coming out of her mouth. I immediately wake my wife up. I'm like, hey, good morning. Rory might have swallowed a fishing hook. What? She gets up. Rory's in no pain. She's not making any sounds like she's in pain. It was just she swallowed a line, and we got it out, and she's running around, and she's great. But then I came over to the computer, and I went click, and boom, you guys knew there was no show. So that's why at least the banner was delayed. I had every intent of at least getting that up to not make you guys wait around. So on that, I'm sorry. On the words of condolences and thoughts and prayers and vibes for Uncle Frank, I appreciate it. Let's get into the show, ladies and gentlemen. Philadelphia Eagles are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm going to start it off with Jordan Mailata, because Jordan Mailata was the breath of fresh air. Everything else that had happened this week led to that kind of vibe, that kind of sensation when talking about Jalen Hurts and talking about A.J. Brown. But Jordan Mailata talk some sense into everyone when he was asked, hey, we heard that this was addressed in a team meeting.
Yes, we are moving on. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, not the A.J. Brown and Jalen show. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Thank you. We wanted to say that's it. Thank you, Jordan Mailata. He also put a little bit more light on the situation, talking about how frustrating this can be when he was asked point blank, is this a frustrating situation?
It is.
Outside distractions?
And it's not, it's just frustrating. Because now you can spin the story however you want, and you have no control over that.
What is the truth that you see on a daily basis?
That when they come to work, and they want to win a Super Bowl. That's the truth. So it's frustrating to see that a lot of people want to take this and spin it however they want, saying these two are the reasons that the offense is bad. But the truth is, our offense is great. We play complementary football, and that's when the pass game isn't there, the run game is. Now we got to work on the pass game, and we got to do our job up front. I said this on the WIP call yesterday. A couple plays where I ran the wrong play, and those were shots to AJ. But it's such a miscommunication thing, when people who don't understand the game, not to put it like that, but that's just truth. When you see somebody say something like that, it's kind of like a glass half full type of thing.
Jordan.
I think the play that he's talking about is where everything broke down. there was one particular play where Jalen got sacked. I think it was the 1st and 10. It was the first sack of the game. And nobody knew what was happening on that play. And I think Jordan Mailata is referencing that play. It was the first sack that Jalen Hurts took. It was Jewell that got up the middle and was able to, or got downfield and was able, or got upfield rather, and brought down Jalen Hurts. He was untouched through the middle of the line. AJ was open on the play, but there was no time to get him the football. There was another instance closer to the goal line, actually, where Jalen stepped up because both Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata were beaten on the play, like off the break, and there was no play for Jalen to make, unfortunately. But there was a couple instances there where, again, I think Jalen had the best comment after the game. Not in sync. Now, is that an excuse? There's no excuse for that. Absolutely no excuse for that. I do believe that the Eagles passing fewer than any other team in the NFL has certainly hurt their passing game. There is no denying that. Now, has it helped overall winning? Yes, because, again, I stand by the statement, Saquon Barkley running behind this offensive line is the most potent, dangerous thing in the NFL. Zero doubt about that. However, there are going to be games where it's going to be taken away for a minute. There's going to be games where that goes away, and you're going to need, for instance, let's say you're going to need a passing attack. And let's say, for instance, that Xavier Legette catches that football, goes into the end zone. Now you got 52 seconds and 3 timeouts. You going to be running the football in that moment? Or are you going to be passing the football in that moment? That is a perfect example, and I wish Nick Sirianni would have brought that up yesterday, but he didn't. So that's something that I think every football fan understands and realizes that, yeah, you can't abandon the pass either. I know it's one of our favorite things to say throughout a football season. Don't abandon. Oh, you can't. You know what they did? They abandoned the run. Oh, Chip Kelly abandoned the run. Oh, my goodness. Doug Peterson abandons the run. Andy Reid abandons the run. We've been through moments where we've seen a quarterback throw the football 63 times in a game. Can't do that either. But when you're talking about a modern-day NFL where you're barely practicing throughout the season, how else are you going to stay sharp? Is 20 passes a week going to do it? Is that going to help keep you in sync with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Grant Calcaterra and this offensive line? Is that going to help keep you in sync? Hey, look, of everything, I think Jalen Hurts has made the most sense this. I mean, excuse me. Other than what Jordan Mailata had to say yesterday about it's not the Jalen and AJ show, you know, it's. I think other than that, the person that's made the most sense actually this week is Jalen Hurts, because Jalen's message after the game was it was very honest, and it was as specific as he could be. For instance, AJ Brown just saying passing is not specific enough, but Jalen Hurts talking about how everything was out of sync. And then when I went back and watched the All-22, I went, oh, yeah, he's exactly right. Now it's the offensive line's fault. Now it's AJ's fault. Now it's Jalen's fault. It was going around and around. So that, to me, shows that everybody in the passing game is not in sync. So let's start it off with AJ Brown and just get this culprit out of the way. Here he is when he was asked about Brandon Graham and his relationship with Jalen Hurts now.
Yeah, BG was just being BG. He's emotional. In that case, he just misspoke. You know, me and Jalen are good. So he's BG, guys. So everybody loves BG. You know, he's speaking from the heart. You know, he's just giving his perception of something from the outside. So
he's around you guys all the time. Yeah. Could you see where there might be a misperception based on performance?
I think that's what everybody. I think that's what the world did. You know, they perceived what I said about passing and felt like it was an attack on Jalen, and I think that's what he did. You know, me and Jalen relationship is personal, so I mean, yeah, I can see that.
How would you characterize your relationship with Jalen right now?
Me and his relationship are good. So
okay, this. I didn't expect him to say anything else other than what he said. I expect him to say that he's good with Jalen, and I honestly expected him to be in his locker and answer questions, which he did, and I did honestly expect him to say, "Oh, I went the entire passing game. It wasn't just Jalen. People misconstrued what I said." and thought it was about Jalen. Of course. Like, A.J. Brown's not a rookie. He's not just getting into the league. He's not some wide receiver that's just breaking out onto the scene. One of the things that I really am annoyed by is that I really admired, I was one of the few, if not the only person, admiring A.J. Brown for shutting up last year. Because I'd rather have a team that's in turmoil just be a team that's in turmoil as opposed to a team in turmoil with a prima donna wide receiver that's saying all sorts of crazy stuff. Could you imagine if last year when the Eagles were, I believe it was 1-4 at the time, they just lost to the Cardinals, A.J. Brown comes out and he's just like, well, we all suck. Or, hey, we need to work on our passing game. Or, hey, we need to work on our run game. We need to work on our play calling. Why are we firing our defensive coordinator? Like, could you, like, would that have been, I mean, don't get me wrong. That would be great for me. That would add a lot of content. But I don't root for me and the rest of the media. I root really for the fan base. So you guys get this nice big fat parade and we all have ourselves a great time and celebrate as a city. That ain't going to help. That ain't going to help. So AJ shutting up last year, then everyone started speaking for him. So maybe he didn't want that to happen, and maybe he was like, all right, the hell, then I'm going to talk. I'm going to address the media. I'm going to talk I'm going to say stuff. I'm going to get in front of microphones. I'm going to say stuff. So he gets asked a question point blank about the passing game. Now, if he wanted to answer that in a way that wouldn't throw Jalen Hurts under the bus, I think he would have said something along the lines of, yeah, the passing game's not in sync. As great as the run game is, we still have to stay on the same page here as a passing team. In the NFL, you're still going to have to throw the football. In the NFL, when in case of emergency, it's not run the football. In case of emergency, being down 4 points in the fourth quarter with 50 seconds left on the clock, guess what? You're going to need to pass the football. You ain't running in that time. Now, throughout a game, you need to shift into something that is making you a dominant football team. Shift into it, baby. As A.J. Brown himself said, hey, Superman, go put your cape on. Saquon, let the cape down, friend. And I love that attitude. But when you tell me, a lot of people took it out of, a lot of people, he didn't use the out of context, but he did say, a lot of people have misunderstood what I said. Misunderstood? Was it that difficult? Was it that difficult to go, hey, look, we need to get our passing game in rhythm because there's going to be a time when we need it. If there's anything to work on, yeah, we got to work on our passing game and make sure everyone's on the same page because everything was out of sync. Fine, by all means, say something like that. But when you just get the question, so what does the offense need to work on? Passing. People are going to take that and run with it. Now, as far as what went wrong on Sunday, that was against the Panthers. How do you improve upon it? And what exactly was wrong?
To detail, like last game, it was protection. It was picking up a block. It was maybe reads on Jalen's part. It was us getting open quicker or being where we need to be, and it's a timing thing, and it's not saying like the sky's falling with our passing game, but just something to bring awareness to focus on it and to triple down on it to get better in the moment where we have, I was a little frustrated. It's the Panthers, not saying they're a bad football team, but we expect we go out here and try to dominate, and that wasn't a dominant performance. We know the players we have in this locker room, and we talk about the things that we want to do, and that wasn't what we're capable of. And I'm not saying everything has to go perfect every single game because we know it plays different every single time, but that's not what we talk about. And I only said what I said because it was like self-inflicted. If somebody making a play, kudos to them. They're in the NFL too, But if it's self-inflicted, definitely gonna speak up about it, and we definitely gonna try to correct those mistakes and move forward.
All right, just for the record, he was saying the Panthers were ass. He was, hey, don't just run a good football team. No, they're ass. You should clobber them. Okay, I don't care that they're playing better football going to this game. Okay, they still suck. Anyway. So straight up, yeah, he was saying that. But when it comes to all the things he highlighted, where was that? Like literally what I said introducing that clip is what I would have loved to hear him say at his locker Sunday after they won against the Panthers. I would, hey, passing game, what's right? Oh, well, and then he goes into more detail. Well, our blocking scheme, getting open faster for Jalen. Jalen made some misreads. Hey, if you're saying it all encompassing, don't just say, look, I understand that you thought saying one word was keeping it general enough, but everyone's going to come to Jalen because Jalen is under fire. Like I don't get it. I really don't get it. And this was my argument going into last week's game, and it's my argument now. Because Saquon is awesome doesn't mean that Jalen now sucks. Because Saquon Barkley being behind the offensive line that's here in Philadelphia, and for the first time in his career being able to have his talent reap the stats that it so deserves, I'm not going to look at that and go, wow, that's so incredible. Jalen sucks now. No. And you know who else is doing that? Jalen Hurts. Because Jalen's not putting the focus on him. He's not being like, oh, we're running the football too much. Yeah, screw that. Let's air it out. I need my numbers. He's not doing that. The only thing that he gets all the time is touchdowns, like the tush push and all that. But watching it yesterday and listening to these guys yesterday, I realized, that just like Jordan Mailata said, just like A.J. Brown has maintained even through this week, that all they care about is winning. And it's not just about beating the Panthers. And that's also to the point that A.J. Brown was making. We should have blown them out. That should have been where everybody was getting their set. I have no doubt that in the back of their minds, not the forefront, not the number one thing, but the main thing's the number one thing. But I have no doubt in the back of their minds, they're probably looking at the game going like, okay, we're going to get our 9th win in a row going up against the Panthers. We got them at home. They've been playing better, but we're going to roll them. Saquon's going to get his. AJ's going to get his. Devontae Smith's going to get his. I have no doubt in my mind that when an offense is looking at the worst defense in the NFL, an offense as potent as the Eagles, I have no doubt in my mind that they went in that game with great expectations. Some might call delusions of grandeur, where they were looking at the Panthers and go, oh, everyone's going to eat steaks for everybody. And instead, Saquon got the steak, and everybody else just had some mashed potatoes. That's it. Everyone was looking for a steak dinner. They didn't get it. Looking at the Panthers, they thought they were going to get it. The other thing that I've been talking about with Jalen, get kind of the short end of the stick here as far as all of a sudden he sucks now because, Saquon's so good. In Jalen Hurts' terrible, no good, horrible football game, he had 3 touchdowns. That seems amazing. With Jalen Hurts being as terrible, the Eagles are flirting with the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're 11-2. They've won 9 in a row. Does that happen in the NFL when your quarterback sucks? I don't think that happens when your quarterback sucks. And right now, I'm hearing from a lot more people than I'm used to that Jalen sucks. And I just don't see it. And I'm so glad that instead of just like throwing hot takes against the camera or microphone, I watched the game film and went, oh, yeah, no, this is a team problem. This isn't just a Jalen problem. This is a team problem. Passing game problem. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing, of course, is Jalen was. One more thing on A.J. Brown, and I'll just tell you this. I won't play it for you. A.J. Brown championed Saquon Barkley as the MVP again. And he's like, we're not saying don't run it. Like, run it. You got Saquon. But it's like, don't forget about the pass. Again, it's like, hey, let's not abandon the pass. Which, again, is just something crazy that I never thought I'd say. As far as Jalen Hurts' take on all this and being good and clear in the air with A.J. Brown, he was given that opportunity at the start of his press conference yesterday.
We're good. We're good.
Did you two talk after Brandon's comment?
We've spoken. I think in the end, Brandon, BG, we're calling him Brandon, BG knows he spoke out of place. And he knows that. So.
What was your reaction when I'm sure your phone started blowing up when that was going around? What was your reaction to it?
It's just about the team in the end. I think overall, that's where my focus is. I think that's where everyone's focus is at heart, and trying to do what's best for the team. And ultimately, everyone cares about the team's success. And so, whenever something happens, whatever it is, I look at myself first, because everything starts and ends with me. And I take great pride in what I do. I take great pride in the responsibilities that I have. when I am to the city and to this team. And I challenge myself on that. You know, I'm my best when I'm my biggest critic, and I have to continue to challenge myself on being critical on some things so I can be better.
Love that. I'm reminded of the Will Arnett line of whenever he hears somebody say, "I'm my own biggest critic," he says, "Can I have a crack at it?" Anyway, everything that Jalen Hurts said is exactly what you want to hear from a teammate, from a leader. The relationship with AJ Brown, we're good. BG's comments, we've spoken a turn, we're good. Everything's good. But the overall repeating theme of an 11-minute and 30-second press conference from yesterday with Jalen Hurts was, hi, what do we need to do to win? I'm going to do that. Is that not what you want in the quarterback? To a certain extent, I find what they're doing with Saquon Barkley to be very relatable to the tush push. Now, on the surface, you might say, oh, Jalen gets the tutties? Oh, Jalen gets the touchdowns. All right, that he just loves the tush push. Well, not every one of them is for a touchdown. A lot of them are just for first downs. And it's an unstoppable play, usually. So, with that being said, he runs it. Well, what about doing this? What about doing that? What about, a little drag route? What about giving it to Saquon? Whatever. The play that always works, the play that's most likely to work in those short situations, whether it's 1st and goal from the 1-inch line or whether it's a 4th and 1 anywhere else on the field. The play that's most likely to work, that has a damn near unstoppable percentage of working, you run. Very simple. Nick Sirianni has talked about it as well. And I loved one of the things he said last year. It's one of my favorite things he's ever said. With the Eagles and the tush push, you never have a 1st and 10. You have a 1st and 9. That's what you start with. You have a 1st and 9 because you get those 9 yards. Oh, it's tush push automatic. Done. I love that. I absolutely love that. It's an almost automatic play. So you take that step further. What else is pretty automatic for the Eagles? They have a running back averaging 6.2 yards per carry. That's pretty automatic. And Jalen Hurts was asked about the bye week, how things have changed. And there's no doubt that they're running the football now at an amazing clip. Some might say even alarming. And the reason they're doing that is the same reason that they run the tush push so often, is because it's damn near unstoppable. And when you have something that's damn near unstoppable, you're going to go to that well until it's dry. Now, the trick is you still got to keep some water in that well. You know what I mean? So you got to throw the ball every once in a while. You can't abandon the passing game. So Jalen was asked yesterday about, since the bye week, how he has changed and how his game has changed since the bye week in week 4 to becoming this running team.
Do you think you've had to change your game somewhat since like the first 4 games of the season, to accommodate not only Saquon but like everything else?
I think our offense has changed tremendously from the first 4 games. So I'm a product of that because it starts and ends with me.
Along those lines, Jalen, as the offense has changed to be more run-focused, is it difficult for you as a passer to be a little bit less a part of the offense than you're used to?
It's not any difficulty in winning, when that's your main thing, and that's truly my main thing. I know there'll be, I know everybody sees the mic'd up clip of duty calls and all that, and I know there'll be moments where that moment comes. It's a matter of being equipped when that time comes, and that's what we're building confidence for. That's what we're striving for. No one cares how you get it done when you get it done, and that's it. So we just want to, it's like I feel like everything I say is stem from the whole standards versus winning and losing conversation that we had. I think you asked that question last year, but you have standards, but at the end of the day, when did winning not become the main thing?
Thank you. It's always the main thing, in case you haven't heard that. This is exactly the mindset that you want. My issue now is more on the coaching staff than it is the players. Because as dominant as one thing has been, and look, since the bye week, I mean, people want to use that as the line of demarcation. What is that? Because Saquon Barkley was only running for 100 yards in every game, 2 out of those first 4 games. That's it, as opposed to 4 straight games with over 100 yards, 7 games of the last 8 with 100 yards, because ran for 109 against the Packers in Brazil, 95 against the Falcons. God, what a down game. 147 yards against the Saints, 84 yards against the Bucks. He actually had his worst game, the 47 yards against the Browns. And ever since then, he's really been rattling off. 66 against the Cowboys, November 10th. I understand that there's a great temptation to just run the football because it's going to work. And I have no problem with that. But I find when I look in the second quarter or the third quarter, I find that the Eagles will then shift to a little bit of a pass, especially in the second quarter. And I think the game against the Ravens is the perfect example of that, where really throughout the first quarter, you established that run, and then you started slinging it a little bit with Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown. And I've referenced it many times, 3 receptions on that drive by A.J. Brown, 43 yards on that drive by A.J. Brown in what was, I believe, their second touchdown of the second quarter. You want to use that run? This is what fans scream about. This is what fans have been screaming about my entire life. Set up the pass with the run. This isn't like an obvious thing. This is football 101, and everyone shouts it from the rooftops. The Eagles now have the opportunity to do that. Why aren't they doing that? Now, the easy way out of this for a lot of people is, well, because Jalen sucks. And I don't see that at all. I think the Eagles have a brand new toy that they just love. And they have some great other toys too. And they're looking at them and they're just like, meh, I still want to stay with this one. And then it's like the minute somebody else starts playing with it, they're like, oh no, I want it back. That kind of thing. Well, the minute A.J. Brown starts talking, the minute A.J. Brown felt like he needed to call the entire passing attack, most notably Jalen Hurts, on the carpet for not finding any synchronization or rhythm, that's when you start going, all right, well, now let's start throwing the football. Look, ultimately, the only thing anyone cares about is that the Eagles win. And even if you think Jalen Hurts sucks, you have to be happy that the Eagles win. And for the most part this season, it hasn't been squeaking by games like they were when they were 10-1 last year with one hiccup against the Jets. The way they're winning games this year is similar to the way they were winning games in 2022 when they went to the Super Bowl, which was they were in control of games. And even aside from the run game, I mean, if you're ranking things on this team, you're looking at the run game being the best. Then after that, you're looking at the defense probably being great. And then a distant third. You're looking at the passing game. And then at a distant fourth, with the way Jake Elliott's been in 2 of the last 4 games, you're looking at special teams. So anytime you see a passing attack look at like they're the third most valuable part of winning, yeah, that's not a good thing. Because people are always going to gravitate towards crushing the quarterback, or take it away, critiquing the quarterback. But for me, I don't think you get to 11-2. I don't think you flirt with the number 1 seed. I don't think you go 10-2. Well, that was really fun. I don't think you go 10-2 in 3 straight seasons with a quarterback who sucks. And 2 of those previous seasons were without Saquon Barkley. That's the way I look at it, and that's why I have confidence that this Eagles team will get it all right. Passing game included. Couple other things from Tuesday, actually, that jumped out to me. Vic Fangio, as you would expect, spoke glowingly of Zach Bond. Love the fact that he talked about Richie Allen. My man Reuben Frank tried correcting him. He's just like, oh, Dick Allen. He's like, well, he was Richie to me. Love that he's in the Hall of Fame. Love that Vic Fangio acknowledged it. Kellen Moore, now it's old news because both parties have spoken. Actually, all 3 parties have spoken, Nick Sirianni being one of them as well. AJ expressed concern in the in a meeting about the passing game, so they've talked about it. Lack of synchronization, he acknowledged that as well. Again, he watched the film. He saw that it was at times Keystone Cops with the Eagles passing attack. And then something else. I heard this from Sal Palantonio, and it got talked about in the locker room, and I let you hear from Jordan Mailata talking about it as well. But I love the idea of Nick Sirianni being like, cards on the table, everybody. Team meeting here. What we're going to do in our team meeting, yes, we're going to talk about the Steelers, but AJ, you good? Okay. Jalen, you good? Okay. BG, come here. Would you like to say something to these gentlemen? Here's what I want to happen. I want the Eagles to blow out the Steelers. I'm not saying they're going to blow out the Steelers, but here's what I want to happen. I want the Eagles to blow out the Steelers. I want A.J. Brown to have like 157 yards and 2 touchdowns, okay? I want him to have another moment like he had a couple of years ago where he cut touchdown against the Steelers and he was like, I beat you and I'll beat you. Like, I thought that was great. I want that moment again. And then after the game, I want to talk about whether or not A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts are still like staying up late all night, having sleepovers, playing video games. Like, are they besties, though? But are they besties? Devontae Smith's knocking on the door. Can I come in? Like 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Devontae Smith getting ignored. Well, before he went out with injury, so 3 weeks ago. We were talking about him getting ignored in the offense, and now all of a sudden, A.J. Brown? Cool. We're having fun. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game? Want to go to the concert? Want to go to the comedy show? The Game Time app has you covered. How about this? They have last-minute ticket deals. They have flash ticket deals. They even have ticket deals for an hour after the event starts. So what does that mean? That means that if you're going to see a concert or a comedy show, or even if let's say you're going to a ball game, you want to buy tickets an hour after it starts, miss the first couple innings, you just want to go to a game, get a great discounted rate on the Game Time app. All you got to do, use promo code Farzy as well, and you get $20 off your first purchase. So take advantage of all they have to offer, including Game Time Picks, which allows you to filter out all the fluff and get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices with the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. By the way, Sixers Pacers tomorrow, and the Sixers have yet again a 2-game winning streak. Or as we like to say, in honor of Lou Brown, they've won 2 in a row. I think I go to Sam Elliott on my Lou Brown voice. Anyway, so they can win 3 in a row. A winning streak. It has happened before. They got the Pacers tomorrow. So you guys can download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code Farzy. Go down and see the Sixers there. Get $20 off your first purchase. Also, all-in pricing feature allows you to see what you're paying before you check out. Game Time app. What time is it? Game time. Use promo code Farzy on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Before I get into the chat check, the Sixers have won 2 in a row. Joel Embiid playing the game? What? And he was good? No way. That's pretty incredible. That's fun. That's fun stuff. That's fun stuff. They went over the Bulls, that is. I forgot the minutes. 33. So 31 points in 33 minutes. 0 for 5 from beyond the arc, JoJo. Come on, brah. Let's get into the chat check and see how wonderful people are doing on this fine morning. April, good morning. April, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Just had to get over his temper tantrum. I like that. Sean Kilrain, hello. The last time the Steelers beat the Eagles in Philadelphia was October 24th, 1965. I'm going to say that's not going to happen. Steelers, will they break the streak Sunday? No, I still think the Eagles win Sunday. JB, what's going on? How are you? Go Sixers. I appreciate that. Yeah, 103. Right there, man. Charles Dead, thank you so much. Sean Gillespie, thank you. Bob, thank you so much. Stan, what's going on? I do appreciate that very much. Sean, thank you again. Yeah, human version of my way is the great way to put it. Certainly did it his way. Another Sinatra song, though, but all or nothing at all. Absolutely. Brian, definitely. Oh, I've had a couple of... I was there. I saw him a month ago, and I brought Lil Toots with me, and she was playing in the kitchen, and I went in to check on her, and I was like, all right, she's good. So I got up and I was going back to talk to Uncle Frank, and I saw his flask was on the counter, like it had just been washed. And I was like, oh, Uncle Frank, what are you doing? He's like, I got cognac in my coffee. What do you want? When I asked him about the residence he was in, I was like, hey, is this good? And I've heard great things. And he goes, the food sucks and the bocce courts are too small. I know I just said how happy of a guy he was, but if he didn't like something, he let you know too. Honesty was his best policy. JB, again, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Very kind of you. As Rory wants to mess with me now. April, cats are like babies. They'll find anything. She keeps eating, using the facilities. She'll be fine. She's literally now trying to eat the desk. Sean Coder, Uncle Frank sounds like a great man. Prayers to you and thank you very much. Love Jordan. How do you not love Jordan Mailata? BG, get the memo? I hope so. Mint Diggity feels like a convincing win by the Birds on Sunday. All right. You know what, Mint Diggity? I'm glad you mentioned that. Here's why. The Eagles have done a phenomenal job with controversy surrounding their head coach. They've done a phenomenal job of using that as motivation and a way to pull focus. So I'm hoping they do the same thing and put Russell Wilson over their knee. And I hope they have the blowout win they were supposed to have last week. I hope they have it this week. April says keep it in house. Absolutely. Oh, Bob. Bada? I lost my. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. It's worth millions of viewers. Wow, that's pretty cool. Well, may she rest in peace, friend. May she rest in peace. April snitching to D-Gun for you. Wait, well, who's this? Who's been snitching? Oh, BG. AJ will eat more when the teams adjust to Saquon. Yeah, I could see the passing game playing hero at the end of the season. I could see that happening. Mintiggity, Jalen and AJ are like brothers. He's their kid's godfather. Yeah, I forgot. He's AJ's kid's godfather, I believe. Yeah. When I was around him more, I used to fight with my brother all the time, right? Your best bouts are with your brothers and sisters. Eric Krasuski, there will come a time that running game will be shut down. They will need to throw and hope it doesn't cost them the Super Bowl. I agree. That's why you got to keep it sharp, man. No steak, just ramen. That's hilarious. Thank you, Nino. Dwayne, Isaac Sayamalo versus Jordan Davis and Milton Williams. That'll be fun. What makes me really irritated to Sean Gillespie is the Eagles fans that say Jalen sucks. What the hell are they watching? This is a more complete team. I concur. Oh, see, now, why do we got to jump to this? Unts. What's up? Saquon going to get hurt, going for a single season record in a final 2 games, otherwise unwatchable games against the Giants and Cowboys. Yeah, let's hope he doesn't. Let's not put that into the atmosphere. Jim West, West Virginia. Virginia Tech, excuse me. The passing attack is an issue, and the first 25 scripted plays this shows Hurts is struggling running the offense. We can't go to the playoffs losing first quarter every game. You know, people would say that, and I certainly said that, and then they sucked against the Ravens, and they won. I understand that playoffs are a different animal, but you're still playing elite teams. The Ravens are an elite team. My issue isn't Jalen in the first quarter. My issue is, like, the game plan. I don't think Jalen is meaning to target Will Shipley, Britton Covey, and Jahan Dotson more than he's targeted A.J. Brown. Like, this is game plan stuff that we're talking about here. Now, Will Shipley apparently was out there because Saquon Barkley was having an equipment issue. Oh, no. I'm sorry. That was this game. That was this game against the Panthers. So, yeah, even more so. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. Do the Sixers know what a winning streak is? Is that like JoJo knowing what playing 2 games in a row is? Ayo! Mr. Sandman, Jordan Mailata just wants compassion and forgiveness from us. He knows TJ Watt might kick his ass on Sunday. Yeah, TJ Watt is having TJ Watt's having a pretty good season again. How about that? Pretty amazing season. Oh, I should say this. Thank you. Frank Farzetta is a really cool name, and I actually thought about naming my son that. We ended up going with Leo. But his last name was Maiello. He was my grandmother's brother, Frank Maiello. Still a badass name, if you ask me. Did you notice AJ's smirk when he said passing? Maybe it's all BS to get the media talking about that versus deficiencies. Well, I don't think so, Wine, because I think he highlighted the deficiency. I don't have that clip loaded, and I'm not going to load it for you right now. What else we got here in the comments from you wonderful people? Flyers, yeah, Flyers, man. Hold on. What, 5 games? 5 goals? That's right. They did drop 3 in a row, but still 13, 12, and 2, 12 and 4. I'm happy. Who has the? Is it? It's not Mofro. Tippett? Maybe it's Tippett. I think Tippett's got 5 goals in 5 games. I think he's the one that's on the hot streak, up to 9 goals on the season. Mishkov, the face of Philly now. Oh man, that'd be great. Yeah, 5 goals. Yeah, 2 against Florida. Then he got 1 against the Jackets, 1 against Utah. That's still weird for me to say. Really weird for me to say. The Utah Hockey Club. Yeah, so go Flyers, man. What else here? You think Hurts 24-7? The love you have for Hurts is like a second grader teasing the crush you have. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Again, I really appreciate you guys with all the words of condolences and good vibes and thoughts and prayers and all that stuff. I do appreciate that. Everything's going to be Monday morning, but I'll be doing a show Monday morning. I'm not missing any more time. Well, with Christmas coming around, I'll miss a little bit of time, but not for this. But I do appreciate it very much. And yeah, I hope everybody had, and everybody has an Uncle Frank in their life. That's for sure. Frank Maiello, day shy of 103rd birthday. How about that? Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. Greatly appreciated. And again, thanks for everything. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning, obviously, for the Farzy show. Also, Friday, likely a Fox 29 hit Friday morning, tomorrow morning. And then Friday night, another Fox 29 hit. I'll be on the Fantastic Sports Show this Friday night. So look forward to hanging out with you guys even more. And don't forget, like and subscribe to the Farzy Show. Like and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia for your Sixers post-cast needs with yours truly. Like and subscribe to Jacob Media. Like and subscribe to the Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel for all your Eagles pre- and post-game needs as well. All right, I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning. See you guys then. Thanks for everything. Sincerely, thank you.